He is going to take us through each painting and talk about the award and what he saw in each one.
Thank you all. It is a real pleasure and honor to be here in person as opposed to looking at you all on little dots on my screen. There are very few societies that have not let alone one, but two conventions like this. It's actually rather surprising and a testament to your society. The turnout and the way that these work is a real testament as well to your board and your president and all the volunteers that make these things happen. So I'd like to give them a special thank you. I am, did you say Scott? Don't ever call someone from Scotland Scotch, by the way. But that is a drink. A Scot is a person. And so as a young child, we emigrated to the United States. My father took a job as an architect designing a bank in North Carolina, and I actually spent a few years growing up in Western North Carolina. And then the Alabama stuff. We were on our way home, and my entire life I've been told that home is across the sea, whereas Alabama was just kind of this thing that happened. Dad, the owner of the bank, and I think it's okay, this is old history, decided to keep a little extra funds to himself, embezzled. The FBI raided, and he went to jail, and so Dad didn't have a job. And as we were getting ready to move back to Scotland, Dad threw a couple of resumes out, and Auburn University accepted him as a professor of architecture there. So that is how the Alabama. But back in the 80s, Auburn was very eclectic, and most of my friends were the children of university professors, so there's not really an Auburn accent. We all sound like Weathermen and if you want to hear me speak with an accent, I can do that, but I'm going to fling really, really bad words at you because that is a hand-in-hand thing. I can't speak with that accent and control that side of my brain. So I think we'll just skip that. So in order to be able for me to look at the paintings and talk about them as we're handing out awards, I'm going to need to sort of step into the audience here. It'll be interactive. One thing about jurying. Those of you that came to the crit sessions know that when I'm talking about other people's work, I take that very, very seriously. And I try to treat that the same way that I would want mine treated. I know the sting of not getting in shows. I know the sting of having nothing, or sending a painting out 3 times maybe, and it coming back. But I've had a couple that go out the 4th time and garner some awards. So different jurors, different results, but please understand that I've given everyone equal consideration. It takes a lot of courage to put yourself out there at this level. And it's actually really refreshing to see a society where all the artists are from the state. So you don't have these pros sort of swooping in and grabbing the top awards and the check and then whisking off somewhere else. So that it's unique in that, and the organization, everything has been stellar. So thank you very much. And let's get to these awards because I'm ready to hand out some prizes. So.
The first award of distinction goes to Karen Creamer.
This particular floral I found, it's got a very soft feel, and the way that you've applied the paint was very delicate and thoughtful. I spoke today about the understanding that flowers may be one of the more difficult things to paint, just because of the cupping of the petals and all of the ways that shadows can fall on it. So I think you did a really effective job with that. So congratulations.
Thank you. The awards of distinction, by the way, are all equally rated. There's not one that is supposedly better than another.
Yes.
The second award of distinction, and the donor for this and also for Karen's was the 100 Club.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this award goes to John Bradley. And I don't think he's here, but. How old is John now? 102. 102.
I was gonna say that if you had told me that the person that created this painting was 102 years old, I would have said, get out of here. But you can see experience in this painting in a serious way. What I thought was, what really drew me is the real understanding of the effect of atmospheric perspective, and then movement and confident brushstrokes. It's a dynamic painting. I'm still getting over the fact that this man at 102 is painting with that kind of confidence and ability. It's amazing. Although you're not here, congratulations, and really.
The next award of distinction, again, the donor is the 100 Club, goes to Cindy Pitts.
Well, I thought this was quite a special piece. One of the things I do when I jury, and just to allow you to understand this, I look at it on my laptop, and then I project that to my television so I see these images up close and can zoom in on detail, but then I also see them from a sort of a typical gallery distance. So that helps me, but it still pales in comparison to when you come in and actually see the piece. And that's what I call meeting the paintings. And COVID, it was just such a not seeing new paintings in person for a year and a half, 2 years. I can't tell you what that did to all of us. Just, there was something gone in our lives there. Zoom helped, but walking into a gallery and physically looking at a painting. And this one is a really good example of that, the understanding of water that's transparent, yet also reflective, moves, and how light can react with it. I think we all know that if you've been fortunate enough to stand under a pier at the right time of day, how special that moment can be. So congratulations.
Again, the donor for this award of distinction is the 100 Club. And this award goes to Helen Brown.
The thing that got me about this one is it just continues to surprise as you go through the painting, and the understanding of scale and how that can be used to affect that feeling of distance within a painting. And as we reach the pinnacle or the top of the street, the shift from color into a more monochromatic style really helps that effect. I haven't seen that done very often, and I haven't seen it in this style. I'm not sure if this is rice paper or if is it rice paper? Mm-hmm. Okay. So that texture, again, lends another layer of depth on this one. It's a spectacular piece. So congratulations.
Once again, thanks to the WSO 100 Club. This award of distinction goes to Jenny Armitage.
I would assume this is port painting. These old churches with the ribbing and these domes, For me, what really seems to work the best in this painting is the crop and the understanding of that encapsulation of seeing through this architectural element into the structure itself. And the use of a limited palette, the white of the paper, and then just allowing that major pillar to really, you can feel the strength in it. So I thought that was very well done and a thoughtful piece. So congratulations.
The next award of distinction, again, our wonderful 100 Club is paying the award, and it's to Linda Hoffman Snodgrass.
This one, it could have gone overboard rather easily. And if this is one that you really need to see in person to understand the effect of a low-key painting. It would be very easy to sort of pump up the juice there and get these blues oversaturated in the oranges. I know I would sort of tend to do that. So I thought there was particular restraint in this. And then especially the flow. I wish I could paint like this. My efforts at painting like this stay in a drawer. I spent too many years in the minds of the architectural illustrator, and can't shake that. But I still attempt it. It's just got a lovely flow. I think the darker patterns, and I actually got a pointer, I can use that. So the way that this then wraps around and follows this main thing, and then the drops of, I'd really actually like to see the process, how the drops of the lavender are light blue in amongst that peachy color, and then the sort of heart of the painting here. Spectacular. Very well done.
Award of distinction, donor 100 Club, goes to Harold Walkup.
So every painting, as you walk up to it, has something that catches you right off the bat. I don't think we have to have any guesses as to what did that for me. But then it's still got to follow through. And the understanding that powerful sky did not need a lot of extra bits to make it work. It just needs some very simple moves. Showed terrific restraint because there's movement there, and it's actually breaking a couple of rules, which I love, is that idea of we've got that strong move up. And that's a make or break sky, meaning if you do that and you get it wrong, the painting's gone. And I love that. There's something magical about walking that tightrope of failure and success, and this is certainly a painting that does that. But then these little movements down, that should not work. I mean, you got a parallel line going there, 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 but it does. It's not just the sky that does it, it's how the land complements that. And then there's just one little bird. And it's even moving in the same direction as all the other lines. Mm-hmm. So rules are meant to be broken, and this has done that very well.
WSO 100 Club, Award of Distinction, Damian Lee.
Paintings don't have to clonk you over the head to get your attention. And they don't have to be something that just, floors you. Sometimes subtlety really does a lot of the legwork, and I think this is a good example of this. This is a rather small painting. I think it's it's less than a quarter sheet, but if you look at the economy of brush strokes, especially in here, and then the understanding as you move forward, you begin to get things a little more powerful. Things begin to warm up in the midground, and then this just lovely tree that leads us back to the road. It's simple to a point of being masterful, And it takes, I think, to understand when to stop on a painting like this, that's a special talent. I would tend to overwork that probably, but it's really nice to see when someone understands. So, congratulations to Damien.
Award of distinction. This award goes to Sally Bills Bailey.
This one's surprising. It's another one, I think, to really get it, you got to see it in person. It's breaking up, again, a lot of rules that I would assume, and it's making moves that I wouldn't think of. So I kept going by it and trying to understand, and it's, to me, and this is, if you don't mind me, he's wrong, he's not talking to me, is there's something very literal in this passage here, but as we move below, I see that cut that's happening almost halfway through. And then those of you that attended the crit session, I tended to harp on that a good bit. But as I said, rules are meant to be broken if you know how to break them. So for me, when we make that move past, I'm entering an area where, am I actually seeing something that is above ground? Am I looking at a literal translation of rock, of earth, or am I making a transition into something? And for me, that just kept coming back. There's a real magic moment, all these verticals, and they collide here. And again, that for me, we need to move through. But no, you don't. So it's a terrific melding of the figurative and the abstract. I'm really impressed with that. Thank you.
This is the last award of distinction, which only is supported by the 100 Club, and it goes to Patrick Williams.
I thought this, if you've been in the gallery, you understand that there's only a limited amount of room to sort of back up and see paintings that are at the very front. So I was against the glass trying to get, some distance so I could see it. It's like every little rectangle is a jewel in itself. And the placement and the test of, there's little granulated washes within each one of these. And then together they start to create this pattern. And then splitting that again, we have these circular elements that run right through the middle. It's not, so I keep harping on these rules that you're supposed to not do. It's not that that's the thing that I look for in awards. It's a painting that speaks to me. And I just kept coming back to this and finding little moments. There's where, these little rectangles are getting quite strong, and you see it kind of move down. But then the understanding of what kind of shape are we making, him, as different colors are introduced throughout that grid. Every one of those is a little mini masterpiece. So it's, again, and maybe go outside the glass so you get that effect and look through the gallery so that you can see it. So, cheers. Congratulations.
This award of distinction, the donors are the All Oregon Critique Group, it's a Zoom group, and the 100 Club, and it goes to Liz Haberman.
She's not here.
I thought this was a great painting. So how do you begin to, when I walked into the gallery, I'm told the rules of how this, how the awards work. So there's 6 top paintings, and then there's the merit awards. So what begins to separate that? And so there's a bit of agonizing going on in making the distinction. And each decision as we move towards best of show gets harder and harder. The fact that you're taking something rather mundane and just changing it, and not letting anything, the fact that all the background is red, and even the red sneakers, which you think might just sort of vanish, but they're still there. But look at the pose and look at the understanding of human anatomy, and this sort of pouty young woman with probably some spirit, but certainly capturing the angst of that age. There's a defiance in there that I found really effective. So congratulations.
Okay, this next award, the donor is the Heart of Valley Critique Group and the 100 Club, yet once again. And it is for Winnie Gibbett.
I saw Winnie when I was walking from down the street, and she was unloading her car, and she had I think that's an 02 Forester. Yeah, I had an 03 that I loved very, very much. And so when I said something, I didn't know who Winnie was. I mean, I knew her work, but I didn't know that was Winnie. And so I said, nice car, or something like that. But let's look at this. Winnie, what's the title of this one again? Because that does kind of...
Wooden puzzle.
Yeah. So the concentration, I mean, this again is a very low-key description of the human form. And that feeling of concentration lends itself to these puzzle pieces that are then surrounding the figure. And then literally on the table that the figure's working on. So I thought there was a nice play between, the actual and then perhaps the imagined of what these pieces might be and how that puzzle goes together. So there's, to me, a little story there about concentration and play, I think. It's just really well done. The folds in the fabric, all of that. I tend to judo chop those, I'd go much more strong with tone and things like that. Whereas quite often a little restraint is what we need. And I think you did that really well.
Thank you.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
And nice car.
This award of distinction, the donor is the Watercolor Critique Group, which comes out of Grants Pass, Medford, and it goes to Tess Myers.
This piece, I mean, come on. There is, when I say understanding of the body, there are different levels of that. This is starting to reach a different level. The mastery of look at the way, I don't know if you can see it at this scale we're at. And again, if you have not gone down and seen these, please go to the exhibit. Don't worry about my demo or anything like that, Marcus. But look at the hands tying the lace. Look at the form of this dancer. Look at the hair. Look at the way the fabric is treated. Look at the tonal shifts. It's all working in a way that is extremely, I wouldn't say tight, but detailed. And then surrounding that, there's that wonderful idea of letting go of the figurative and just letting the background be something that gives to it. I think if there was more detail in the painting background, it wouldn't be as effective. So that choice is showing restraint in a very impressive way.
Award of distinction. Donors are the Art Connection Critique Group and the 100 Club. And this award goes to Alexandra Iyer.
This one surprised me. And again, it's if you spend your time online looking at paintings rather than getting into a gallery or a museum and seeing the actual piece, you won't ever catch the nuance. I didn't expect this painting to be an award winner, it was actually kind of on the bubble a bit. But there's something to me about it, and it's the facial expression. Everything leads up to that, and everything is it's undefined in a way that's quite pleasing and works until you hit the face. And then there's this feeling, maybe of a French model from the 20s or something like that, or 40s. And this halo, is it a hat? Is it just, a piece, to help us understand or look at the face? But there's no question where the artist wants your eye and how they want to direct it. And it's rare for me to see a piece where there's one element that really ties it all together in that kind of way. And so that's why I gave it that award. So congratulations, Alexandra.
And now we get to the 6 highest awards. This is the 6th place award. The donors are the Level Up Critique Group and the WSO 100 Club, and it goes to Chris Stubbs.
So that level of distinction where you begin to move towards the top awards. It's rhymed in a bad way. I'm not typically a fan of sentimental works, but I am quite often wrong and free to admit that. If you look at this serenity in this gentleman's face and understand, what's actually going on with how that dog is sitting on his chest, there's a mutual love that's absolutely apparent. Down to you. So that's what hit me first. But then just little details, a little Band-Aid. So either the dog scratched him or he's been in the hospital or something, I'm not sure. But look at texture and the beauty of the way the artist has worked the skin, the hair on the dog. And then there's this one little moment. So really terrific paintings have something that's kind of hard to describe, and really you have to see them to understand it. And this is out of nowhere, but it just, on the 3rd, 4th time around, I noticed the attention that she'd given that one little bit of chrome. And I said, okay, this person's not messing around one bit. So it's the understanding of how our bones and skin age, seeing that through the hand, the beautiful bit of turquoise in the skin tone that complements those oranges. There's not a bad moment in it. It's such a strong painting. So congratulations.
5th place award, the donors are a New View Critique Group and the 100 Club, goes to Bill Bailey.
Again, normally I'd pull something like this out, but if you surprise me in the right way, I'm going to notice it and keep coming back. And this, again, there are things going on that you have to be right up close to it to see. But this wonderful move here, you would think someone with that experience, that would be an absolutely clean line. It's not. It's disturbed in a way that reverberates a little bit. And then typically, just separating these things or pairs by these, they're just lined up. So there's an opportunity or for me, a way that I might look at that and say, okay, this is static. I'd like to move some pairs and have them touch, but this is by design meant to do that. And then the little surprises. How does a pair reflect? And the understanding of texture, nuance of very, very subtle value shifts, subtle shift in hue. It's an excellent painting. And I think the thing that does it for me is, these are, it's not the same repetitive, same pair. Every one of these fruit has a different character. But look at the stems. That's where it begins to break free of that regimen. And then if you can get that kind of nice black, you've got a lot of patience and a lot more than I do, but I think it's put together very well, designed with a lot of thought, and an excellent painting.
The next award is the fourth place, and I just have to say thank you to all the critique groups, which all of you that have donated, that goes towards this award. The donor for this one is West Side Artist Critique Group and the 100 Club, and it goes to Sarah Balsma.
I've come across Sarah's paintings a few times. They're a real joy. You could easily let this become too separated or piece by piece, but the understanding of and the use of cool and warm and the way the movement of this stream and the understanding that water, when it's not moving, begins to really reflect, and the difference in the foreground. Typically, I would think then we would have some reflection of this beautiful warm rock in here. But the fact that that's not there makes it even more special to me, that moment. It's organized, composed, and executed, and in a way that only you paint, by the way. Where are you? Yeah. I've had the opportunity to see a good bit of your work, and I'm a big fan, so congratulations.
Third place award, the donors are the Roseburg Gang and the 100 Club, and this goes to Leslie Cheney Parr.
Once you get in top three, that juggling act of how do you put these together begins to get really, really difficult. At first glance, and this is, I think, a full sheet. Is that right? Yeah. It's very stylized, and as I walked past it, I put this patterns on the fields and this geometry. What's going on? And then this idea, and we were talking at the drinks line, and I said, hold on, because I didn't want to repeat myself. But I was able to, one of the things that we've got either cows or something like that in this field that are the same scale as these houses, but the understanding that cows are not the same size as houses makes that work out okay. But it's not, that's just one of the little things that I noticed in here. The application of these geometric shapes onto the landscape is reminiscent of what actually does happen. When man is given a certain plot of land, they tend to, fence it off and make it theirs. But the the energy involved in this, I think, and the execution is what just kept me coming back. So there's something when I'm walking by these that just tickles me more. I investigate, I give it a rest and come back with fresh eyes. And this surprised me in the fact that then these areas where there's this sort of almost stenciled geometry on, what would be a landscape, the fact that it worked for me really started to draw my interest. And look at that sky. I mean, and then this swell right here and all of the rays coming through. It's a magnificent piece. The scale helps there. I think this is a small painting would not have been as effective. But the fact that you have the room to make those moves and make them with that kind of precision and delicacy it really surprised me. So congratulations. Do not stop doing that because I've seen a lot of people painting. I haven't seen people painting like this very often. You've got a style. Hold on to it.
The donor for the second place award is only the Another View critique group in memory of Ron Spears and Maud Derland. They did the whole prize. And it goes to Robin Bisick.
What do you say? I'd like to do this. Talk about style, and owning it, and it's recognizably yours. That's something. Don't let go of that one. So let's start looking at it. It's got everything you want and more. It's a carnival ride. It is fun. It's playful. It's got a lot of detail going on. I love the batik passages through there. It's the kind of thing I'd like to watch you paint, actually. But the understanding of where to use color to direct the eye, and then where to use calm and dark to let you take in the more exciting parts of the painting. There's a special way of seeing that some artists are able to achieve that lets them come up with this kind of thing that when you put it all together, it looks fractured. If you inspect it closely, it begins, but when you step back from it, it comes immediately into focus in the most wonderful way. So, again, talk about style, talk about confidence, and the understanding of movement. It's a tour de force. It's fantastic.
And for the best of show, Central Oregon Critique Group and WSO 100 Club, and it goes to Janine Miller.
So, with Robbins and some of the ones before, when I walk in and you see the pieces that you think might be, in the top, I take it in from a distance, and then I get out of there because I don't want that affecting the way I see the rest of the show. So I'm walking in, and it's on the left. I went, ooh, cow. Good. I gotta walk away from that. So at that distance, it works, and it's saying, come in. And as I go through the rest of the show, it's still from across the room, I'm going, ugh. And then I let myself get closer to it. And that's going to do a couple of things. It's either going to confirm some of the suspicions I have, or I'll say, it had a moment. I thought it had a little bit more, but it didn't. In this case, obviously, every time I came back, I found something new. I am, by the way, a sucker for cows. One gave of its best this evening. But if we look, and we had a chance to speak when I came in the door, and I said, I don't want to talk too much because I want to be able to say, I don't want to repeat myself. So, but I did get a little bit of insight into the way she works. So the glazes, it's actually the start of the painting, which I thought was done after. But so in true fashion, and if you're in my workshop, I'm going to pound this into the ground, is the idea that every figurative painting has 1 foot in the realm of abstraction and 1 foot firmly planted in the figurative. And this painting starts out by doing that. In reality, these moves across, that's telling her where to place things. These are construction lines that become part of the painting in a way that is, I haven't seen it used that way. Typically what I would think about glazing is, at the end, let's come in and start to place these. But this is the setup. That's before anything else comes. So this is, speaking in terms of composition and understanding of construction and placement, all of that's there from the start. And that takes a pretty bold, that's a bold move to come in and put that underneath your painting before you begin it. And the fact that then there are also these very light glazes that are they're done in the hues that make the painting. So again, then that tells me, okay, this is planned out carefully. If you've seen a cow and you walk up to one, if they're down eating, and when they look up, they have that look on their face. We had a farm for a while, and we had a cowboy out there, and so I've actually had cows eat paintings. But there's this wonderful sort of serenity in the expression, the mid-chew, and then this, for me, the thing that put it over the top is the communication that's able to happen between that and me. So it's more than a painting. It's me having to stare down with a cow. And we can have a giggle at that, that's fine. But the fact that it's backed up with that kind of technical understanding and the way that it's put together, put that over the top. Look at these moments of turquoise. That's not, that one just, maybe that'll work. That's gonna work. And then again, it's complement. These oranges, And then the scrape outs. I mean, everything is, to me anyways, everything is done with purpose. There's not really a moment where it feels, I said today during the crit sessions, when you're painting, try never to react to what's going on your page. The more you can anticipate what's going to happen, the better the outcome. And that's it's a big distinction. You know, you can get lucky every now and then. But if you know what's gonna, you know, if you have a plan and you know what's coming up, your chances of success are gonna increase quite a bit. And I think this is a great example of that. Congratulations. Hold on just a second. Will he shut up and let me have my coffee? The show as a whole is a testament to this society. These are all Oregon artists. As I said, it's taken on the whole, and the way that it was hung with care. And the fellow's name that owns the gas. The way that he paginated that and the way he put it together was so thoughtful. And when I jury a show, I think very seriously about how do we get awards in that speak to elements of the entire show. That doesn't mean that I want to take a floral and a portrait and a cow and include that. But if I can find paintings that speak to the entire show, I'm always a little bit thankful for that. And this one certainly ticked all the boxes. It's been a real pleasure and an honor to do this. This is your work. And it's just been a pleasure to spend time with it. So thank you.
There's one more prize. And I think only one other person, no, two other people know who this goes to. It's the People's Choice Award. The donor is the WSO 100 Club. It is a painting that Iain has already talked about. This prize goes to Robin Bisick.
Thank you.
Okay, before we go any further, I just can say, wow, Iain, I have to say your insight, your honesty, and your integrity were just amazing.